Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to show you how I made the Earth, with the atmosphere of course, but that will come in the next video since it took me quite some time to get this done, and also the tutorial would just be too long if I made this all in one video. So today I'm going to focus on just the planet itself, getting the textures, applying them, get a nice shader with reflections and stuff. And then in the next video, I will show you how you can make the atmosphere and also the sun and the animations and everything. So down in the video description, you are going to find 3 links. Here. There you can download texture maps of the Earth. So a topography map, which is basically a height map of the Earth, and here a color map of the Earth, and also a night color map, because we're going to fade between day and night on the Earth, so it looks better. Right, so now if you got these textures, you will open up Blender and you will add a UV sphere. Usually I always use icospheres because they're more efficient, but today we need to use UV spheres. So I would say 64. It should have high resolution, like of course go as high as your PC can go, but yeah, I think 64 and 32 is fine. Let's shade smooth, and now let's create a new material. So the first thing we're going to do, actually you're not going to need textures for that. Let's go to viewport shading, right? Let's also turn the color to black because it's in space. And let's get a sun lamp. Light sun. Let's move it somewhere here. Maybe like this, and boom. And now let's just bump up the strength to like 15 or something. Maybe not that much. 7.5. Yes, that looks okay. Now what do we want to do? We want to create this kind of glow on the outside, which you can see in a lot of shots. So that's quite easy. So it's basically also, this just works in Eevee. Like in cycles, this shader will look different because we're going to use a Eevee only feature, which is called shader to RGB. So let's get a diffuse shader, very simple diffuse shader. You can see how it looks, basically the same. But now let's get this just in Eevee. Where's my mouse? So lock, okay. Let's get a shader to RGB node here. And now you will see it looks still the same, but this is now a normal color value, which we can use for a lot of things. And we are going to use this in combination with a fresnel node. Fresnel basically, I mean, if you really want to use it as fresnel, it tells you how the reflectiveness on a material changes depending on the angle, but we're not going to use it for that. We're going to get a multiply node, a math node, and then multiply, and get this in there. So now you can see we got kind of glow on the outside. Still not perfect. For that we just play around with the fresnel value a bit, like no, go like close to 1. I mean, if it's 1, it's just completely black. It has to be a bit larger than 1, but yeah, not too much larger. Maybe this is good. Perfect. So now we got basically our glow on the outside already. Pretty easy, right? So then next we need to give it some color. So for the color, let's get a color ramp, and we can basically just add color that we want now. I like it to be blue on the outside, which let's increase the brightness. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's make it black again. This one I want to change. And let's make it like a bluish tint. And also let's make it too bright, so like too bright, not too bright. Yeah, so it yeah, maybe even higher. Make it brightness of 3. You can dial in any number you want, really. And now let's put one in the middle, and let's just give it a value of 0.5, so it's not too extreme. And let's give this a slightly reddish tint. I don't know. Let's keep it a bit bluish, but a bit more reddish than blue. Yeah, that looks fine. So we got this. This is still not perfect because there's of course also some atmosphere. Probably we're going to add atmosphere, but Eevee volumetrics aren't really that great. So we're going to approximate a bit our atmosphere with another shader to RGB thing. Okay, so I got exactly that. One thing I ran into a problem with, I remember. Shader to RGB does not work with subsurface scattering for some reason. So we're going to have to stay with this, and we're going to take the same color ramp basically, and we are going to also plug it into here. And oh, maybe not. Let's take a different one. We're going to have a similar color, so it's not like it's going to be completely different. And we are also going to get a fresnel node, but we're going to plug the fresnel directly into it. And well, we don't want this one actually. Yeah. So great. We have this. We're going to make it darker in general because we're going to multiply it or add it to the other shader, which means it's going to be a bit too extreme. And same thing here. I'm going to reduce the brightness, maybe increase the saturation, but you have to like play around with it a bit. And like in general, it's a bit too bright right now, so I'm going to reduce the brightness even more here as well, so it isn't too strong. Perfect. So now we got this. This is basically the base atmosphere, and this is like the glossy atmosphere in a way. And now we basically want to output a shader at the end. So let's get an emission shader. Plug this into emission. Get an add shader node. And let's use this. Now you can see we got our atmosphere shader. Looks nice, doesn't it? Perfect. Good. So in order to simplify this, I'm going to take this and put this into a node group. So you press Control G to get into a node group, and that's basically all you need. I mean, you can really play around with this, but I don't really think it's necessary. So we got this. Perfect. Node group. This is our atmosphere shader, which we're going to put on top of everything. Now we obviously need a different shader, which blends the textures. So let's first add some textures. So texture coordinate, we need this of course, and now we need image texture, and we need UV vector, and exactly. Now I just have to find my textures. Also, the textures, they are actually really big, so it might be a bit too much for the computer to handle, and you can just downscale them. Exactly. So here I have my textures. Earth texture low, that's the albedo texture. Right, so now let's add a principled bsdf to make our life a bit easier. And let's view the texture. And let's just ignore this for now. Okay, so this needs to be flipped. And let's add a mapping node. And let's just scale the Z. No, it's UV, so scale the Y -1. Boom. Looks like the Earth. Kind of. It's a bit weird with the shadows. I mean, can we disable shadows? I don't think we can disable shadows. Let's go here. Yeah, and I think there's an option to make it not take shadows, but yeah, we're going to live with that for now. So we got this. This is our texture for the albedo, but we still need one for the night. So let's copy this, and another time for the elevation, and let's get the light texture. And as you can see, let's view this one. And we need to flip it as well. So let's just put the mapping node into all of them. Great. So lights, perfect. Then we need the elevation, which has 17 megabytes. It really takes a long time to load, but thankfully it just has to load once. And now, good. So now here, there's the elevation map. You can see the Himalaya, it really lights up. For some reason Antarctica as well, I didn't know it was that high, but whatever. So we're going to use this elevation map for something. We're going to use this in order to differentiate between water and normal soil, to use a different roughness value. So let's first get a compare node. Or in this case, since 0 is water and the lowest value is also 0, we can use again, of course we need a math node, and then we can go less than, depending on what you want. I mean, yeah, I think less than is actually better. So now let's plug this value in. Let's preview this, and let's go 0.001. And yeah, you kind of have to play around with it. And since it's, yeah, you can, yes, I think this is kind of good. So now you can basically see everything that's white, it's water, everything that's black, it is land. Now we just need to plug this into a map range node. Map range, exactly. And then we can map the 0 value, which is land, to some roughness value of, I don't know, 0.75. And we can map the 1 value, which is water, to a reference value of 0.2 or something. And now, as you can see, if we plug this into a roughness and we view this with Control Shift and then click, now you can see that the water has different roughness than the land. And you can also see that kind of parts of the land, they are also in water, but you can't really fix it. And to be honest, you're not going to really see it. So yeah, you can see different types. Great. So we got this. Now what we need is, let's add this atmosphere glow shader. So let's get add shader. And let's add them both together. And you can see, looks pretty convincing, doesn't it? I mean, not gonna lie, that looks like Earth. Anyways, so there's actually a lot of stuff you can get in Eevee without volumetrics. And we're almost done with this tutorial, so let's finish it up by actually making a transition to the light texture, or to the lights texture, on the night side of the planet. So therefore we need again a diffuse bsdf, and we also need a shader to RGB node, which again not add shader, shader to RGB, which only works in Eevee. Yes, I need to remember that, but I tend to always use Eevee because my PC just isn't fast enough to realistically handle cycles. Great, so we got this. Now, only thing we need is basically, let's just sneak it in here. Let's move this one a bit down, move those down, and perfect. Now we need a mix. Mix RGB, I think, exactly. And we're going to, this is the factor, we're going to put this into the factor node, and then we're going to put this into color 1 and this into color 2. And then you can see it's already working. The only other thing is, technically we want emission on this side. So at that point, it may be easier to just go with two different shaders, but you can also use this shader to RGB node to get an emission mask, for example. So if we now take a multiply node, a math node, sorry, since the emission color is going to be different anyway. So now let's get a math node and let's set it to multiply, and let's multiply the color by the shader to RGB, and what? Wait a second. Okay, so it's just flipped. Let's simply flip those two. Okay, now it works. Right. So now still we do need yeah, let's get an invert node first. Let's go invert. Very nice node, very handy. Boom. We invert it and we get this. Right. Still somehow doesn't look 100% right, does it? Yeah, let's just take this color instead. Okay, fine. Now we have this is basically our emission mask. So everywhere this is, we're going to put this into emission strength, and into emission color we can just put white for now, and we can make it a bit yellowish, like light, you know. And we also may need another multiply node to like increase the emission strength, because emission strength of 1 usually isn't enough. That's why I use principal bsdf. It's kind of easier. Put 10 for now, and also maybe color ramp, or we can actually just technically use a map range. I like map range. It's a bit faster than color ramp because it just handles like one value, and for this case you can really use it. So now you just go up by maybe 0.1 was too high. It's basically you clamp the value under a certain value. So it's, we basically just want the city lights. Yeah, so I need to clamp a bit higher. Yeah, that looks okay, doesn't it? Don't want Antarctica showing up, that's the only thing. And 3.3. Yeah, that's great. So now we get this, we multiply by 10, put it into emission shadow, we put this color, which is basically down or just our albedo color, we plug this into the base color of the principal bsdf, and now let's look at our shader. Now the height map has to load again. And now it's flipped the texture. Why? It's okay, this one doesn't have to be flipped over. Okay, yeah. Just plug UV straight in. Great. Yeah, I don't know why some are flipped when others are not. I don't really care. Wait, what? My view is flipped. Let's go back to numpad 0 so we can, no, numpad 3 or something, so we can have a normal view again. Oh, okay, so the problem was simply that my view was flipped and therefore everything looked weird. Great. So anyways, you can see how the lights turn on when it turns dark. Very nice, doesn't it? And we can now use this as our earth model. If you want, you can add waves, like I did in the video, by just basically multiplying a noise texture with the water, but it's not really necessary. So I'm gonna keep it for now. And also, one commenter did say that the specular reflection on water from space is actually not that sharp, since obviously the atmosphere diffracts it a lot. So maybe let's put it to 0.3 or something. Yeah, that looks fine. Good. So that concludes the first tutorial. As you can see, also this updates, of course, when we move the sound, the sun. If you want to have this easier, you can add a constraint track 2. And where's it? Track 2, exactly. And just track to the Earth, the sphere. It's called Earth. And Now it should always be pointing here. And you can now kind of move the sun around and see how this changes things. But as you can see, the lights always light up on the other side, which is very handy. And so yeah, that's nothing you will have to worry about. Yeah, also you could technically disable shadows really, because there's nothing that could cast any shadows right now. But well, anyways, this concludes the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and also this of course also applies to like other planets. If you want to make a Mars or something, should be possible as well. Until next time, if you liked the video, drop a like, that would be very nice. Also, subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss the second part, or other Blender tutorials, which I upload occasionally. I try to make it more often, but in the last time I just didn't have that much time for it. But anyways, have a nice day, and we'll see us in the next one.